I just can't say it.
You just can't say it.
I can't say it right now.
What we can say is welcome to another episode of Catchupcast. I think this is episode 8 or episode 2 of the second season, if we're actually going to delineate them that way.
I don't think we should.
You're listening to Catchupcast, the podcast where, believe it or not, we do not discuss condiments.
How do you delineate seasons in your life? I always feel like the year never actually begins on July 1st.
That's because it begins on January 1st.
January.
Too many J months.
January 1st.
That's the biggest problem with this world right now. Too many J months.
Let's switch it up a little bit. Let's get more.
Oh, it's Spamuary.
No.
Okay.
But, yeah. Do you ever feel like the year doesn't actually start on January 1st?
The year starts in, April for me.
I feel like my year starts in September, like when school starts. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I always figured, that's the break.
Because that's the biggest beginning, right? Because January 1st, that's
some would say,
what would some say?
A beginning is just another beginning's end.
I mean, yeah. In the never-ending story that is this life, yes. I mean, it ends. Spoiler alert. The story of that is this life does end. It's death. That's the story.
And thanks for showing up, guys.
We'll see you guys next week.
See y'all next week.
No, I get that because January 1st, it's a new year.
Yeah.
Because someone decided that's the new year.
Right.
There's no.
We should go back to the Roman calendar.
Yeah.
Aren't we in the Roman calendar?
We're in the Gregorian calendar.
Let's go back to the different. Julian calendar.
Perfect. No, this calendar was made up by I think Pope Gregor.
Gregor Mendel.
Yeah.
Right?
No, Gregor Mendel's the peas guy.
By Martin Luther.
No, he's the 95 Theses. Pope Gregor was his name.
Gregor Mendel. Pope Gregor Mendel. He was a pope, right?
No. He was a scientist, you dumbass.
But he was a pope scientist. Those go hand in hand, right?
Right, of course. Yeah, I forgot. They give you that the Pope-mobile, and inside is a chemistry lab.
They give you the papal vestments,
and they're actually just a lab coat.
Next time I walk into a lab with a lab coat on, I'm like, wow, look at these papal vestments I'm wearing.
Chemistry students are actually just really devout theologians.
Some would say they're alchemists.
That was a bad joke, but alchemy is super cool, so
see what I did
damn
there?
it.
No, but yeah. What are we talking about this episode?
I don't know. Believe it or not, Isaac and I don't always know what we're doing with these episodes. Obviously, there's episodes where we've had lists, including the episode that's just called Isaac's List.
What was that? Oh, right.
Where you just had topic after topic.
So usually I write lists down in a little 3x5 or something, and then let's see if I have any lists in this 3x5.
Hey, just see what's in there.
See what's in there. We'll talk about it.
I would. I had Post-its above my desk that I'd write on the Post-it because I would record at my desk, so we'd be talking at.
So I would have this, and I'd have it in my pocket of my wool vest that I wear every single day.
Right, you were classy. I was just...
Yeah, but now I don't wear that vest, so sometimes this will go in this pocket, but sometimes I don't wear this shirt, and I don't have a pocket to put it in. Or I put it in this pocket.
I think you wear that shirt every time I see you.
I try.
Why?
I don't know. It's my uniform, really. It's my brand. It's my raising brand.
It's important to establish a brand.
Whoopity scoop.
A good segue into the Catchupcast merch. I'm just kidding.
To our Patreon.
Yeah. The first 5 donors to give $10 or more get a free wristband to Music Fest.
No.
No, we don't have merch because that's money, and none of you fools Venmo'd me since the last episode went up.
None of you fools gave us your money.
The joke here is that we're recording this episode right after the last one, so of course.
See, this is a response episode to the Complete Guide to Everything's episode about grifters.
What?
And
no, please take
where
this
we
tangent.
respond as grifters ourselves, and we try to defend our brand and get money from an audience.
Now we're waiting for their response episode to our response episode.
Uh,
Our podcasts are actually going to war.
I wish I had a podcast war.
Can you imagine, like how bizarre would that be? Like podcasts.
How much publicity would that be? We gotta just start shooting. We gotta start
shitting on podcasts.
Shitting on people.
God, wait, don't tell me is the worst podcast.
Because
they do tell me.
I've been really into fresh air recently. I've been listening to so much Terry Gross, and
I've been just listening to Dungeons and Dragons podcasts.
I don't see how you can do that.
Because it's interesting. It's cool to see this story build through an audio format.
No, I get it.
Also,
This American Life.
Little known fact, I'm a
podcast.
massive nerd, so I like Dungeons and Dragons. This American Life's a really good podcast.
Yeah, I
what
like their
else?
older stuff actually. I mean, their new stuff is good, but I don't necessarily like the episodes that they cover one story for the entire episode. Maybe it's just 'cause I'm a millennial and have really short attention
You
span.
want to jump from topic to topic.
I gotta get on with it quick, but that's okay. A podcast I know I've talked about before is the Risk podcast.
Yes. Although I don't know if you've talked about it before in this new canon podcast.
Have you listened to it yet?
I haven't yet.
It's gonna wreck your day.
Please
let me
talk
tell
about
you.
it, because I think the episode where you talked about it was one of the ones that didn't work.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Episode 7, take 2. This is episode 8 finally. But the one we just recorded was episode 7, take 3.
Take 3?
Yep.
There's 3 takes to get
Uh-huh.
episode 7?
That was the cursed one. Now we're over the hump.
Right, it's 7. Unlucky number 7.
So we're fine.
We got it from here on
But
out.
please talk about the Risk podcast. We're not sponsored by them yet.
It's an emotional podcast where people tell us true stories they never thought they would dare to share. That's their tagline word for word. I feel
So now we're getting sued.
I feel like they're gonna come
Um,
after me for that. But yeah, it's if people share emotional stories about life and death and sex and drugs and all of that. And some of them are super emotional. Some of them are hilarious. Some of them make you want to cry. Some of them you are like, wow, yeah, so many things. Sometimes when I'm mopping the floor at school, that's my job. I feel like I've talked about that before.
No, you haven't talked about that.
I talked about that in the second episode. Come on here.
That was months ago.
Well, go back and listen to it. But I work as a janitor at my school, and I mop the floors sometimes, and of the cafeteria, right? So I'm mopping the floor, and I'm listening to the Risk podcast, and I'm breaking down into tears because it's so emotional, or I'm bursting out in hysterical laughter, and everybody thinks I'm a psychopath because who's mopping the floor and laughing to themselves? It's a great.
Find joy in every moment, like we said.
It's a great podcast.
Okay.
Risk podcast.
I haven't done as much here because it's hard to just go to Taste and do it. But I used to, I would listen to a podcast and walk down to a coffee shop that was about a mile away from campus.
Okay.
And I would just get a cup of coffee and sit down on the deck and, listen to a podcast and drink coffee.
Mm-hmm.
And that was really,
I listen to a podcast while I'm doing pretty much anything.
I can't focus. I have to do one or the other.
To distract my mind from the thoughts I really should be having.
This episode took a dark turn.
Do you ever listen to a podcast before you go to bed so you don't have your terrible
Every
night anxiety?
Every night.
Yeah. But somehow when I'm in the backcountry or when I'm for the summer, I won't do that at all and I'll be totally fine. When I was in California, backpacking for 80 days, didn't do that at all and I was totally fine. Somehow
You were in
being
your
at
element.
home and it's I need something to distract me from the horrible thoughts I'll have unless I'm not constantly under the consumption of some media. God, capitalism.
Fuck yeah.
But, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Listeners, if you listen to Catchupcast before you sleep,
Don't.
really don't do that.
Just don't do that.
Because you don't want us to be the last voices you hear before you fall asleep. Think of the dreams you'll have. Strange
some
tree men
podcasts.
and-
Some podcasts think that it's an insult when they're like, "Oh, you're listening to me before you go to sleep. How boring does my voice have to be if you're gonna fall asleep to me?" I think that's one of the compliment.
Yeah,
actually,
if you end your day with a podcast, that's a ritual. That's something that means a lot to you.
yeah, and probably it's something you thought about doing. It's not just some blind. Yeah,
I used to The Adventure Zone is the D&D podcast.
Okay.
Which I recommend if you're a D&D person, or if you just like stories. But I would listen to an episode before bed every night.
Mm-hmm.
And that used to be that thing that would get me through the day. I can't wait to hear what happens next. I just gotta get there, and then you get to sleep.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which is another. That's one of my favorite things to do. I had to get up and get a haircut today.
You could get up and get a haircut today.
Because I couldn't get a haircut from my bed. And I did not want to stop sleeping.
Anyways. Yeah. No. Or like, I listen to podcasts all the time.
You listen to more podcasts than I do.
I listen to so many podcasts. But right now I'm having a little bit of podcast anxiety because I'm all caught up on everything. I'm like waiting for the next episode to come out.
I always go back and re-listen to the first
It's an addiction, really.
couple episodes of Catchupcast.
I could.
But
I hate the sound of my own voice, so
I
that's
feel
okay.
that. Yeah.
Also, I've probably listened to them before.
I've listened.
I listened to the first one. Maybe the
First one's a
second
good
one.
episode. The third one's hard to listen to.
Why?
That was before we figured out the microphone stuff.
Oh, yeah. I feel like the first one's our peak.
It's all just been downhill since then.
It's all been downhill.
No, we've
from
had
there.
some good ones. I think episode 6, we talked about a lot of stuff. We talked about creative writing.
Oh,
And then
yeah.
we talked about waffles.
About waffles.
The title of that episode is How to Write Creatively and Make the Perfect Waffle. So you know it's a good episode.
Oh, did I share the story about the waffle line?
Yes, that's why we talked about it.
Oh, no.
I have a waffle story.
Oh, I
if you
can't
wanna
believe I
revisit
told
waffle
that.
Stories.
I feel like I've said too much on the podcast.
You talked about... Wait, do you have a specific story about waffle lines, or just the general waffle lines are annoying story?
Oh, shit. Did I not share this specific story about a
No.
waffle line? About my school? And I cannot share this story, because the
Is this
person...
the story about... Oh, it's about a specific person.
Yeah, the
Oh,
person
you told
that
a
I
story
share
that's
this...
people not making waffles the right way. Or taking too long.
No,
Then you haven't shared the story.
I haven't shared the story, but I can't, because the person will know exactly... A, knows that I have a podcast, and B, will know exactly that I'm talking about them, and I kind of don't want to do that.
Does this person listen to Catchupcast?
Probably not, but I feel like they will eventually.
They'll hear through the interwebs.
No,
That-
they know I have a podcast. They just...
But that something was said about them. They'll be like, oh, man.
Yeah, probably. Or they'll just like... that's all I want. All right, we're done. Let's
right.
go. Let's move on.
I have a waffle
I'm getting
story.
really
It makes
uncomfortable.
it's a story that makes me look bad.
Great.
I mentioned this in the episode with the waffles, but
Are we just rehashing our old
no,
material?
because this
now?
is a recent story.
Okay.
I was complaining about how the fact that like everyone's always using the waffle maker, and there's one, and I have never had the chance to go make a waffle, and it's broken my heart.
Gotta get up early and get in there.
Well, this was like midday. I was getting lunch with my old roommate, but no one was there, and I
Yeah.
was so excited. And someone got there right before I did. But okay, it's one person. I waited. They were gone. So I put the waffle batter in the cup, and I put it in, and I shut it. Waited the 2 minutes, turned it over, and it was sticking to the pan.
Gotta spray that.
I forgot to spray the spray.
Oh my god.
And I'm like, oh god. And this kid walks up behind me and goes, did you forget to spray the spray? The no stick spray? I did. Well, you're supposed to spray the spray.
God.
Like,
Why you gotta make fun of this kid, huh?
Because I was feeling bad. I was trying to scrape this waffle out with a fork, and he was laughing at me. And then he made a big deal. I left, and he took the spray and was like, tss, tss, tss. I mean, he was just doing it normally. Probably.
I don't. I've realized this so many times in my life that I don't like my peer group. I don't like being around people that are my age. I like hanging out with either older people or younger people. Older people, because I feel like they're just more mature and like it's so
Is this a jab at me?
cool. But then
For doing a character
But
voice?
then hang out with younger people to like stroke my own ego to be like they think I'm so cool and I got things to teach them. But I don't like hanging out with people that are in my age group because they think they know everything.
Is this a jab at me? At your podcast
No, I just thought
host?
I'd bring that up non-tangentially to what you just said.
It feels like you're making fun of me for using a character voice here.
No, not that specifically. Just like it's a feeling I get every once in a while when I'm around people that are my age.
I certainly understand that. Honestly, a lot of people our age are less mature than they think they are. And I'm sure we're all guilty of that.
Like I said last episode, take your job seriously, not yourself.
Absolutely.
But that doesn't mean you get to be a complete jerk off, like, just because you don't take yourself seriously. Like, there's a difference between, like, not taking yourself seriously and, like, not taking your actions seriously.
I would agree. Going back to this little kid thing.
'Cause, like-
that's a horrible tangent.
What?
Going back to this little kid thing. That's just...
Go ahead.
Well, that's just a weird thing to say. And what were you saying, though? You had a point that you were about to make.
No. Go ahead.
Okay.
I forgot.
My mom teaches young people
Okay, kindergartners, preschool.
Well, third graders. Now.
Third grade. Oh,
Yeah.
moving up in the
Moved
world.
up. But I guess she shows them my films sometimes to kill time.
Hmm.
That's not my intended audience.
I don't know how I feel about that.
But like they know my films now.
'Kay.
She was
Indoctrinating the youth, as she puts it.
it's a bad thing to be indoctrinated. To. Like, what if they turn out like me?
Yeah, neo-Nazis.
Listeners, in case you weren't aware, I am not in fact a neo-Nazi, or an old Nazi either. I happen to think Nazis are bad. Isaac is currently keeled over from laughing.
I probably shouldn't accuse people of that. Go ahead.
My mom also teaches this theater program at her school.
Yeah.
And she was putting on, like, the performance was a couple days ago, and she
Uh-huh.
asked me and my sister to come in and help out. These kids have seen my films, so they,
Okay.
like, know who I am. So, like, 4 of these kids, instead of saying hello, just said, "I've seen your films."
Were they like, I don't think they're good.
No, they liked them.
Oh.
One of them was like,
Because kids can be like the worst critics sometimes. Were they?
no.
Did they stomp on your
They
heart?
they begged me for my autograph, so I signed this piece of paper, and then they fought over my autograph, which was weird, and I did not like it.
I feel like
But now they all hate me because I yelled at them backstage because they weren't behaving.
you shouldn't need third graders to stroke your ego.
They weren't stroking my ego.
Shouldn't need third graders to stroke
I'm
anything.
telling the story of how I ruined Isaac. Holy shit! You can't just say that. This is a family podcast.
No, it's not. Name one family that listens to this podcast. Probably our families.
The Baker family of Springville, Illinois. Thank you for tuning in.
Oh my god. Just scared the shit out of somebody.
Out of
It's
the
like-
Baker family
it's
from
like,
Springville,
oh,
Illinois.
they know I listen.
Yeah, they sit down at dinner. They put on Catchupcast. It's real sweet.
That's awful.
But-
Don't do that.
But these kids, like, they went from, "Oh, you're so cool," to hating me because I yelled at them in the span of about 2 hours, and I just. It was just a story.
That's why I like kids so much. Is they don't give 2 cents about anything. They live the most free lives.
'Cause they're
Adults
just
are
living
so. I've been more weighted down with things in my life than ever before. Anxieties, fears, sadnesses, like
Don't grow up.
everything. Kids just don't have any of that. They don't have any responsibilities for one thing, or like
That does help.
maybe some kids do have tragedies in their life, and that's an awful thing. But like
But they've experienced like personal hardship. Like the world is not pressing in on them.
yeah, but then again, it's also good to know that you can like critically analyze something and like actually be like a deeply thinking, productive member of society.
Be mindful.
Be mindful.
We really are the mindfulness podcast now.
I hope not.
What else? What's on your mind?
I feel like we were going somewhere, but we lost it, and we went on that
I
tangent.
derailed. That's the podcast in a nutshell.
Did
though.
Did I tell you that you shouldn't smile before Thanksgiving if you're an elementary school teacher?
Yeah.
Like
Do
your
you want to tell
mother is?
them?
I just did.
Do you want to tell them why you shouldn't smile?
So that you come off as like an authoritarian figure that they can actually respect and like.
And this is for teachers.
This is for teachers usually, I guess. Yeah. And then after Thanksgiving break, like, you can show your good side, but then the kids will also know that like, oh wait, this person actually has an authoritarian side
They
to
mean
them.
business,
Like you can,
but they're for fun too.
right? Like people take you
Business
seriously
in
at
the
the
front,
beginning.
party in the back.
Exactly.
Teachers are mullets.
Don't say that.
Teachers are not mullets.
I don't like this.
Sorry.
Yeah, I had a college professor tell me that, seeing as how I'm going into education, and I thought it was really interesting. Not true in all circumstances, though, but interesting. Interesting, like.
It really makes you like you have to. Like,
Theory.
I'm going back and I did this when you told me, but I'm doing it again. Like just going back and thinking about like teachers have had like, is that a thing?
Yeah, at the beginning of the year, you're like, this teacher's awful. Like, they're so mean. Like, they never smile. They don't like give us treats or anything. And then the second half of the year, you're like, why did I ever hate this teacher? They just are fun and great. You know what I'm saying? But you know, in the back of your mind. Who's that?
I don't know. The phone's ringing in the background, listeners. I don't know if you can hear it. It doesn't sound like it's a person. It sounds like it's an organization. Whatever, it's gone to the answering machine
I
now.
guess so. Lost that opportunity.
The sign fell over.
It did.
But not over, it just broke.
I saw one of those signs get dragged away by a truck once, and I thought it was like a big semi truck that was like coming through, but like making that turn. But it turned wide and got stuck under the belly of the truck and just got dragged out like forever, like gone. I was like, nobody's gonna know. Like I was the only person witnessing this, and I was like, nobody's gonna know where that went, but I'm gonna know, and I think it's hilarious.
I was listeners. This is not a visual medium. It just occurred to me. We're talking about there's these.
It just occurred to you that this is not a visual medium.
There's these signs that sort of delineate where the
Crosswalk is.
Where the crosswalk is. So that in middle school, this is a way long ago story, but I was walking to school one day because it's just up the street.
Yeah.
And I was walking by the creek and I peeked over. One of those signs was just in the creek.
I love that.
Which means someone had to pick it up and just.
I think it's so funny.
Probably a kid. Darn kids.
Probably somebody our age. No
Oh,
matter what age we were, it was probably somebody our age.
Because you and I dictate the age of hooliganry.
The worst people.
Or hooliganry is a little less mean.
I guess you can't say the worst people, but like, just the
ISIS is out there, Isaac.
The least. It's a controversial episode.
Because I said ISIS?
No, just I feel like I've accused you of being a neo-Nazi, which I should apologize for. I apologize for.
It's okay. I didn't think you actually thought I was a neo-Nazi. You don't actually think I'm a neo-Nazi, right?
But yeah, and so I don't know what else to talk about. When are we gonna run out of things to talk about, like an old married couple?
Hopefully never, because we're not an old married couple. We
Yeah,
are
but
two young, spry individuals with cool hair and a cool beard.
Nah, neither of those things we have.
We have one of those things.
Yeah, I have the cool hair. You have none of the rest.
It's like the one thing I take pride in myself about, and you had to just pull the rug out.
So I've been thinking, have you ever heard of a chap book? I think that's how you pronounce it.
Book?
Yeah.
Like chap, like...
Chapter, but book. As in a book.
I've heard of a chapter book, but I've not heard of a
What's a chapter book?
A book with chapters in it.
No, that's not. It's a short book of poetry, but not as big as a full anthology, but like not as small as like a handful of poems. It's like somewhere in between.
Like 20-ish pages? Or like...
20-ish pages, maybe like 15 to 30 poems.
So it is to poetry what a novella is to prose.
Yes, yeah, that's a good way to put it.
Okay.
Yeah.
I like the idea of that.
I know, it's really interesting.
I feel like I could write a chap book.
I feel like I have. I just haven't put it together yet.
I'll be honest, I think I said this earlier on the podcast. I don't like poetry. I don't like writing poems.
No? Why?
I like reading, because I don't know, it's hard to get that in touch with an idea or an image and then write about it using words and that deliver that image in a way that isn't just I'm writing sentences. I've written one poem that I'm really proud of.
Oh, okay.
In my life.
I've written one poem.
And it was about sort of infatuation.
Okay.
And I wrote it using this metaphor of a river and getting caught in the river and then the rapids and you're not really paying attention. And then you go over the waterfall and that's when you sort of, oh my god, this was dumb. And so the metaphor helped me like sort of explore that idea.
Okay.
Because I didn't explicitly say, oh, this is a metaphor for infatuation. I just told the story
Right.
in the metaphor.
Sure.
And that was really effective, but normally I have a hard time doing that.
So I feel like poems don't really have to be about such big ideas as infatuation.
No, a poem can be
I
about
think Billy
anything.
Collins like taught me that.
Billy
You know,
Collins
it's
is
like
my favorite poet.
you can write a poem about like anything.
A lanyard, for example.
A lanyard. And make it like so poetic. Write a poem about I forgot the name.
To be fair, he's written a lot of poems.
20th century poet from Amherst, Massachusetts.
Oh, Emily Dickinson.
Emily Dickinson. You can write a poem about Emily Dickinson's clothes, and it can be great.
Another good poem.
Right? Like, I feel like we've talked about this poem on the podcast before.
Maybe not on the podcast. I don't remember, but we have discussed this.
But, you know, like, yeah. People think that, like, poems have to be all stuck up and, like, so...
Pinky out type thing.
Pinky out and deep in thought. But, like, really, they can just be simple little muses on springtime or, like, grass or something. I don't know. Like... Yeah.
Leaves of Grass, perhaps?
that's a novel.
Well, it's a collection of poems.
It's a collection of poems.
By?
Walt Whitman. Walt Whitman.
Yes.
Witty Walt.
Witty Walt, yes.
Witty Walt, as they call him. Yeah. But, yeah, I was, like, going through my poems the other day and being like, which ones could I, like, put into a chapbook? Like, I don't think I have enough for a full anthology, but, like, let's throw them together into a chapbook. Like, what are the good ones that I think are, like, worthy of that? Because, like, also, I don't write every poem to think it's going to be good enough to share.
No,
like,
sometimes you just write a poem to
for myself,
get something out, right?
Or, for history, personal history, and, like, yeah. I feel like we've talked about poetry before.
I mean, we're an intellectual podcast.
we can talk about things more than once.
We spent, I don't know if the episode ever aired, if that's the right word, or ever went out, but we spent like 5 minutes discussing iambic pentameter at one point. and then I said something on iambic pentameter and you shut me down instantly.
Centamic pentameter? What?
100 beats?
100 beats for every rhyme?
Oh my god, Shakespeare would die.
No, but like not 100 beats. Like 100 lines between every rhyme.
Oh no, it would be iambic centameter.
Iambic centameter.
That's what it would be.
We've talked about this before, but I'm really interested. I gotta write that.
If you wanna write a poem in iambic centameter, and resurrect Shakespeare just so he can die again from the
Why would he hate that? I think he would love that.
If you did it tongue in cheek, he'd love it because all Shakespeare did was tongue in cheek. Legit, if you read Shakespeare, it's all like dirty humor. Isaac's writing right now.
I feel like I've thought this idea before and was like, oh, it's a really great idea for a poem, and then forgot it. And now I have to remember it again.
I had a whole list of poems I wanted to write for my creative writing class, and then didn't end up writing because I didn't have time.
Yeah.
That's the biggest problem with writing in general is you really have to make time to do it.
Yeah.
And because it's not like if you're doing it for a class, that's one thing, but if you just, like, you want to write poetry,
I feel like
you have to make that commitment to yourself.
Not really. I feel like I don't make that commitment and it still happens, which may be a sign that I'm actually doing something right. But, like...
I'm doing something wrong.
Well, no, because you can't sit down. I
commitment.
can never sit down and be like, all right, I'm going to write a poem right now. Like, it doesn't really work
that's not
that
how
way.
poetry
It's like,
works.
all right, or even, like, my
Hence
writing
why
in
you
general.
would carry a journal with
Exactly.
you.
Like,
I should start doing that.
Or my writing also. It's like, hardly ever is my best writing just like when I sit down and decide to write. It's more like, oh, this is a really great idea. I have to go run back to my notebook and write this down and like flow with this, you know? So like making time for it is like, yes, important, and like making sure that I have like my day is not too busy that I can't stop and write something down, but also being okay with not having to sit down and write and like get frustrated in that, like, all right, for 2 hours right now, I gotta do it. I gotta sit down. I gotta write. I gotta be creative. I gotta be poetical. Like, just let it come and go.
That is, when I was writing the Writers Legacy films a few years ago, I rewrote a lot of like the sequels, trying to really get the story perfect.
Yeah.
And it was, some of my best scenes did, like, I would be lying in bed thinking, and I'd have an idea, and I would write it, and those scenes were amazing.
Yeah.
Versus my book that I'm writing right now, like, I was really inspired after our backpacking trip to do some writing, but since then it's been really hard to like do anything.
Yeah.
I can't.
Do you ever start something like a short story or like a poem or like, I do this all the time, or like a new book, and you're like, oh, this is super great, and for like 2 days you're like in a frenzy and you like write like 10,000 words, and then you're like 3 days comes along and you're like, I don't really feel like it anymore. You just don't do it.
That's what writing is. You just you do it, and then you're done, or you refine.
Yeah.
I'm in with my book. Speaking of it, I'm in the refining stage. This is the third draft at this point.
Uh-huh.
I am so sick of it. I just want to be done. Like, I think there's 3 or 4 new scenes I'm adding in just for like story clarification.
Sure.
But everything else is just like reworking little things.
Yeah.
And I
like
hate
line
it.
edits and stuff.
Like line edits, or like changing the way, like the structure of a scene.
Sure.
But it's so dull.
Yeah.
Because I've been looking at this
So many
text for
times.
6 years now.
That's why I like poems. It's like you can just
You just do a poem.
You can just do it, and it can be what it's going to be. And sometimes I go back and edit them. I've been doing that a little more recently, but, like, part of me is like, wow, I don't know. I kind of like the original, like, egg of an idea in a way, and just, like, not going back to change what I originally thought. Sometimes they're better poems for the change, but other times it's like, that's how I was feeling in the moment, and that poem deserves to stay pure and stay, like,
I think it depends
essence.
also on what you want to do with the poem.
Yeah, right. Like I said, if I want it to be published or, like, to go out into the world, I will go back and edit it.
Right, you want to refine that.
Want to refine
really
it.
The perfect
Make sure that,
itself.
you know, it's all that. But if I'm writing it just for myself and, like, my own personal needs or history, like, no, I want to keep it that pure state of what I wrote it in the moment. And that means something different than going back and editing it.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Look at us talking about smart things.
I know. We're like two Terry Grosses.
Who's Terry Gross?
The host of Fresh Air. The where she, like, interviews, like, writers and yeah. It's great.
There's some really interesting writing podcasts out there. I've listened to clips. I haven't listened to full episodes.
Yeah, I really haven't gotten into them, which is ironic, since how I love podcasts so much and I love writing. Like, you think the two would come together, but I really haven't very much.
I've been watching these videos on YouTube. It's a screenwriter who makes these, and he keeps alluding to the screenwriting podcast where he'll interview the screenwriter of whatever big movie has just come out, or whatever, like, really good movie has just come out.
Sure.
That's something I love podcasts. I love film. You'd think
Right.
I would have gotten into it, but
Yeah,
I think you can only focus on so much.
it's true. Humans are just flawed creatures from the beginning.
Are there any perfect creatures?
No?
I saw there's this dog.
I mean, we can be perfect in our own, like,
we can be the perfect version of ourselves, but we can't be a
well,
perfect individual.
in some ways, being just what we are is being perfect, right? Like, perfection is, like, such a strange word that I feel like a lot of people have co-opted into meaning, like, the best, or, like, perfection gets confused with the best of something, where in reality perfection can be just being.
Yeah.
Just living can be perfection.
I've never thought about it
regardless
that way,
of,
but
like,
I think you're
how
right.
you're doing it. And that, like, we're damn lucky to even be here. And that's perfect in and of itself, you know? Like, there's a difference between the best of something and the being perfect. Which I just said, but in a different way.
But yeah, that's a good way to conclude it.
There you go.
Wrap it, tie it all together with a nice little bow.
All right. Yes, and that.
Yes. And, I mean, I think you've said everything I would say. I can't yes and that. I mean, yeah, you good.
And
I have nothing to add.
all right, great.
Shall we segue into another thing?
Probably not.
Oh, we're only at 33 minutes. I mean, do you want to?
Yeah, but
I don't know what else to talk about though.
whatever we end up talking about, we need to put as the title so that they know that we're going to talk about it, but they're waiting for it to talk about.
Right.
Like YouTube videos will do that, or like some podcasts will do that too, where their title will be a something that they're going to talk about at the very end. So you keep listening or keep watching in order to, like, when are they going to talk about this? Like, I gotta wait until they talk about it.
And that's how we entice the audience.
That's how we entice the audience to
think-
listen through a whole episode.
I think it's hard to do 2 episodes in one go.
yeah.
Because like when we have breaks between episodes, things have happened that we can talk about.
Well,
or,
not
like,
only
things-
that,
things
but
we've thought about
we
things.
like drain all of our creativity on the first one, and then the second one's like, ugh.
I mean, this we've talked
We've
had
talked
some good
we've talked
discussions
about
this
good
time.
stuff for sure, but like,
But it is I would agree.
yeah,
But I mean, 34-minute episode, not bad at all.
yeah, we just padded it out with 2 more minutes since the
And-
last time you checked.
I mean, I think that might do it for this episode. What do you think?
What's our hook? What's our catch? What's our title though?
I'd have to re-listen to it.
No. We have to say something now.
Oh, something now. That'll be the
title, but they're waiting for us to talk about.
Oh shoot.
Make it seem organic. Don't.
I almost
Don't
want to just
fumble it.
blurt something that end the episode. Like, so they gotta wait till this, like, the very end. Like, we say goodbye and then I just shout something.
Don't shout. We're outside.
You know, but like,
No, I get it.
Should we do it that way?
I don't know.
We've just padded another minute. You know what? We're gonna talk about padding in chairs. It's good when there's padding. Thank you for listening.
No, I don't like that.
You said make it seem organic. Thanks for listening, guys. See you guys next time. Actually,
What?
I don't know when next time's gonna be. Come to think of it,
The next 15 minutes.
no,
I don't know when the next time's
because
gonna be.
Isaac and I are both gonna be at camp all summer.
Yeah.
So this might be it for the summer.
This might be it forever, really.
It's not gonna be it forever.
Probably.
We're not gonna talk next year. This is the end. This is not enough of you have been listening. Our friendship's over.
Title of the podcast.
Our friendship is over.
Friendship ends.
The death of friendship.
That's it. We're good.
That's it. We talked about it. But we might not make new episodes until next school year.
Yeah, but they're used to this.
Right.
They don't.
You've
really
just
care.
had a couple month hiatus. A couple months. That's a safe thing to say. Because I think I'm gonna upload both of these in one go.
Ended already.
Thanks for listening. We will see you guys in the fall, probably. Right? Fall.
Yeah. For never.
We'll see you guys soon. Have a wonderful summer. Thanks for listening. Bye.